Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we wrap up our congressional interviews with Congressman Mark Amodei of CD2. Here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
For now, abortion is legal in Nevada. But Adam Laxalt wants to change that. He called Roe versus Wade a joke.
Roe v. Wade was always a joke.
Electing Adam Laxalt means giving Mitch McConnell the power to pass a nationwide ban on abortion that would overturn Nevada's abortion protections. Adam Laxalt has shown us who he is on abortion. We should believe him. SMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. Entertainment here at the Carson Valley Inn is extraordinary.
Yeah, super proud of the TJ's Corral, our outdoor venue, about 1,500 seats. We've had first-class entertainment out there. We've had Merle Haggard, we've had Chris Young, we've had Lee Brice a couple times, we've had Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, who's in the Hall of Fame. We're real proud out there, and it's just a great time. Watch CarsonValleyInn.com and grab those tickets early. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're always pleased to welcome back to the program Congressman Mark Amodei of CD2. Pleasure to have you here.
Thanks, Sam.
I come all the way to D.C. and it's so crazy there.
Can't talk there.
The last couple of days that all the interview times with everybody just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And so thank you for coming in today to do this so that at least our delegation is all together.
Happy to be back in Nevada.
Yes. Wanted to start out with the federal interest rate hikes. And, they keep pushing 0.75%. Now we're looking at potentially another large increase. And it seems to me that with all the discussion about soft landings and all the rest of it, that there used to be a saying that weathermen, and I used to be a weatherman, as you know, and economists all keep their jobs despite the fact that they're wrong at least 10% of the time. I get the sense that the Fed has no clue what they're doing.
Well, I'm not an economist either, and I wasn't a weatherman. So I know, I watch, I've started watching Stuart Varney a lot just because, and MSNBC, I think has Squawk on the Street or something like that, which I find both of those interesting because they're not so much politics, although they are politics. They talk about the other stuff. And so you've been watching this stuff for the last couple months anyhow, and you're like, I have no idea. But depending on who you listen to, and it's matriculating more and more towards the majority of people are going, these folks don't know what they're doing. Soft landing is out of the picture, and it's that foreboding, hey, we haven't seen the worst of it yet. I hope they're wrong, but I can see where people are starting to go, you know what, it's time to start planning for the worst and hope that our plan's good, and if we're wrong, it's good news.
Well, when interest rates are above 7% now for housing, for mortgage rates, and they were 2.99% about a year ago, that's knocked a lot of people in Nevada out of the chance to either refinance or buy a new home. So what are you thinking in terms of the housing market, and why should builders be building right now if those interest rates are so high that people can't go there?
You know, you look at what's going on around the Truckee Meadows even, and there's all sorts of stuff going up. The housing market is starting to slow. It's down from what it was, 6 months ago when everybody's house was worth a ton. That was the good news. The bad news is as soon as you sell it, you're in the buyer's market, and that's a tough market to be in. So now you've got the double whammy of values are coming down, interest rates going up. I think there's a little bit of a momentum still floating around there, but Sam, and once again, I hope I'm wrong, but I think by the end of the year, it'll be full-blown, hey, it's time to get really conservative about those decisions you're making, both personally and also for our municipal governments and our state government as well.
You know, in talking to some people about food prices, I don't know how much grocery shopping you do yourself. I know you were at the grocery store this morning, but you know, the average person's grocery bill has gone up literally about 30%. I'm talking to housewives who are saying to me, you know, we're talking to the family about we're not buying so much beef, we're looking at chicken and pork because we just can't afford to buy beef in the quantities we did before. That's really bringing it home.
Well, and you're not talking about New York steaks. You're talking about hamburger,
right?
You know, or some of the cuts that were not top of the line stuff, and even bacon, other pork stuff, chicken, all that. I mean, that's kind of where I go to calm down. You know, to say I accomplished something at the end of the day is I go do my own grocery shopping. And I don't memorize all that stuff, but it's not like, hey, that's maybe a little bit more. It's a lot more. Even paper towels are like, holy mackerel, maybe I can air dry or something like that. So, yeah.
Hopefully not after a shower.
Yeah. But having said all that, and you sit there and you look at, it's campaign season's in full swing, and you're looking at the ads, and a lot of them you're going, hey, this is center of the driveway issues, what it costs to fill up, what it costs to eat, and what it costs to basically have a roof over the bed that you sleep in. Or like, people want to know what you're going to do about that, what you think about that, what the plan is, because that's pain that knows no partisan lines at all. That's everybody.
All right, let's talk about gas prices. You would think that if the price of gas, and it just went up again, even though the actual barrel cost of gas has gone down, of petroleum, this is not the 1970s, the early 1970s, where there were gas lines because there was no gas. There's no shortage of gasoline. The government is still got 1 million barrels of oil going into the system every day. We hear all these excuses from the gas companies, but all of our good friends at OPEC aren't doing anything to help us.
Well, and Sam, that kind of gets you into gas is domestic and it's foreign. I'll just tell you, I don't care what your party is. Being energy self-sufficient is a good thing. It's a good thing. It gives you options internationally. It gives you competition at home, and people don't have to worry about, hey, maybe my number 2 expense after rent is gas, not food, gas. And oh, by the way, I don't live next door to where I work so anyhow, energy affects everything. So to sit here and say, Sam, nobody's against being good to the environment. Nobody's for dirty air, dirty water, contaminated soil. Nobody's for that. But the part that has been completely blocked out of the discussion is we've been making good progress in this country. Nobody's saying mission accomplished, but we've been doing good things with smokestacks, with tailpipes, with different types of energy, incorporating the other ones in. But to basically say, not good enough, we're going to force feed you now, this program, to the point where it's almost like you're cutting off an arm that didn't have anything wrong with it in terms of going, well, we don't want you to have so much circulation. It's nuts. And to keep pursuing that and pretending like it's okay and coming out with some 5 cent, oh, it's the oil company's fault, it's their fault. And then you're sitting there talking with Venezuela and the Middle East, which are not people that have loved us all the time, saying, hey, by the way, while we're doing this over here, could you please sell us some more oil? Because even though we can, and you just sit there and go, smaller carbon footprints are a good thing. Electronic vehicles as the wave of the future is fine with me, but saying it's going to be done now, and I don't care what the pain is just makes absolutely no common sense.
Okay, refining seems to be the bottleneck. And it's incredibly difficult, especially for those of us in the West, to see California doing anything about allowing more refineries to be built.
No. But here's the issue. You look at what was spent under the infrastructure and the Anti-Inflation Act, whatever it was called. I mean, we're spending a lot of money to build charging stations in Nevada. And by the way, the law says you got to have one every 50 miles. Have you driven to Elko or Ely lately? Even Vegas. Really, how are you going to do? The federal government has never built a gas station, Sam, unless it was like a PX station on a military post or something. It's like for the money that we're spending on trying to do all this, it's like, hey, can you build a few more? If you want to pay for something that you've never paid for before, can you build a few more refineries instead of sitting there going whatever? Or, but nothing in terms of that. You're all on your own. By the way, you're worse than on your own. You're at war. Keystone XL pipeline, all those other things. And you're going, but hey, we got billions and billions to the point of trillions to promote this stuff. Oh, but by the way, it's force-fed. It's not market-driven at all.
I said to Doug Cannon, the head of NV Energy, on the program a few months ago, are you going to get into the mini-mart business? Because, mini-marts have gas pumps, but they're going to need, if they have 10 gas pumps, they're going to need 50 electric processing, because as long as the charging takes the amount of time it does, you're going to have many, many more charging stations than you have gas pumps at this point. But isn't the reality that with all the excitement about this, that this is like, doing redevelopment in a downtown? It takes 30 years. It doesn't take 15 minutes.
And you know what, if you said, we want to be carbon zero in 30 years, people would think, well, but when you're sitting here, California, you can't buy a lawnmower anymore. Any of that outdoor stuff, how they're going to fight their forest fires without carbon chainsaws, anything. I don't know. So I sit there and look at that and go, I get it's the wave of the future. I understand trying to be more neutral in terms of our impact on the environment. Those are all good things, but you have to do it in a way that has some common sense. And by the way, when we talk about the progress we've made in this country compared to other countries around the world, not that but to sit here and put us at a tactical, economic, you name it, disadvantage vis-a-vis the rest of the country. China's building 500 coal-fired power plants in the next 10 years, Sam. That's not a good thing, but to basically make us subservient to people like that by choice, you got me.
Well, they say, and so does India, that we had our industrial revolution over 100 years ago, and it's their turn now. So it's kind of interesting to look at that and argue with it.
Well, I'll tell you what I would just say is you've learned nothing from the past then. You've learned nothing from the past, and by the way, when is that a position to champion?
Let's take a break. More with Congressman Mark Amodei after this timeout.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. One of the things I love about the Carson Valley Inn here in beautiful downtown Minden is CV steak. I have eaten here so many times. Tell folks what they can expect when they come here to eat.
It's a beautiful room, great service. We have certified Angus beef, seafood, lamb, a great range of appetizers, and wonderful desserts. Jean-Michel's done a great job of selecting some beautiful wines for us. The customers love it, and we've got a great selection of cocktails as well. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Nevada Newsmakers Goes to Washington is brought to you by the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, your RTC, our community. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. University Medical Center of Southern Nevada. Compassion, accountability, integrity, respect. The Nevada Mining Association, mining a better future for Nevada. And NV Energy. NV Energy proudly serves Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Congressman Mark Amodei of CD2. So just a couple of other quick things on this while we're talking about energy. So we want to do all this electric stuff. And yet, once again, this summer, during a heat wave, California's having a disaster, and then they lean on Nevada and say, hey, you need to cut back as well. You know, you wanted to charge a car at night, and because that's the least expensive time. No, you can't because there's an energy shortage. What the heck are we doing? You know, I was talking with a friend of mine, you'll remember the name, used to be the president of Sierra Pacific back before it became NV Energy and all that stuff. Jeff Ceccarelli was the president and was expressing, and I won't talk for Jeff, but it's like, they used to plan for peak energy loads. Peak load performance. That's what you designed your system for. When nobody was using it, it's like, yeah, that's fine. What you wanted to make sure as a public utility was that you had the power when it was called upon in peak load times. And it's like, what, is that all gone now? You're just sitting there going, oh, looks like there's no surprise when people get home from work when it's hot that they want to cool their house down. And so you just sit there and go, what happened to all that? And you don't hear a peep about that, Sam. And you're sitting here going, what the heck? Well, I think what you're hearing from people like Doug Cannon is go a little slower. That's the sense I get from him. Because we've got to maintain these gas-fired power plants in Nevada, for example, so that we're not having stranded assets over time. That people are paying twice for their electricity. Let me also just flip to lithium. Obviously, we have huge opportunity here for lithium, but it seems like every time any kind of mining project is announced, that there are groups that go out and immediately say, let's see, and it's not like they're going, oh, well, in that location there's no, they go to find things to be able to put a brake on this. How can you have it both ways? It makes no sense to me. Well, and especially when you're here in Nevada where most of it requires federal permitting, and you've got an administration that says, we're all in on this electric stuff, and we want to make it easier and all that, and you're going, don't you believe that for a minute? I mean, talk to those folks at Thacker Pass. Talk to those folks at Rhyolite Ridge. Talk to the people that are in Railroad Valley right now in a fight for their life to preserve their claims from NASA. Oh, we need to track satellites. They've been doing it for 40 years now. Like, oh, we need 22,000 more acres in Railroad Valley to track satellites? It's nuts, Sam. It's nuts. And so I'd hate to be the Bureau of Land Management right now. They're supposed to be, multiple use, playing by the rules, NEPA, all those good things. Like, oh, forget all that. We just want to stop them. And it's like, well, that's good because what that gets you is more dependence upon China and more dependence on other producers of it when you've got it here. And well, isn't it a human second position that we'll take care of everything else and man doesn't matter because we'll keep all the plants and take care of that, and if man dies off, but here's the premise. The premise is mining for lithium, or in some people's minds, anything is bad. There's been no acknowledgement of how the mining industry has changed over the years in terms of its environmental responsibility, its social response, all that. It is not the mining industry of even 50 years ago. It is possible to extract minerals in an environmentally responsible manner. But in some people's mind, if it's the M word, then we got to stop it no matter what. And you're sitting there going, you're doing self-inflicted unnecessary, even with the coal plants. The TS one that Newmont's got, Valmy that Nevada Power's got, those smokestacks are much different than they were 50 years ago. And so you're like, well, if you want to matriculate away from that, but it's like to sit there and go, it still produces acid rain, is like, nope, we're not across the finish line with that yet, but they certainly don't deserve to be taken out of the equation, lickety-split, without a 360-degree look around cost-benefit. Thank you for going back to my former producer, who happens to be Mrs. Shad. Her first project was Acid Rain 40 years ago. There you go. All right, let's take another break and come right back with Congressman Mark Amodei after this timeout.
Like a traditional handmade basket,
Retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker, and you've got a lot of convention space and meeting breakout space for people. Tell us about what's available.
Well, we can handle a group up to about 250, and anywhere as small as 10 or 15. So it really depends on what you're looking for, what the customer's looking for. We're open to anything. It's a beautiful drive, and if you live in South Reno, it's probably about 30-35 minutes, so it's real easy to get to. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Congressman Mark Amodei of CD2. I do want to point out, because otherwise somebody's going to write in and say you didn't mention that, you were former president of the Nevada Mining Association.
Correct.
And that's how actually we became friends.
What was that, about 13, 14 years ago?
It was a while. Okay.
They've done a lot of good things since then.
Let's talk about Fallon, the Naval Air Station. Looks like, according to Congressman Horsford, that we're going to see that expansion go through. You agree?
I hope he's right. I mean, if it does got to start, I think it's got to start in the Senate. And so because the Senate's the Senate, they start late with everything. So the Senate Defense Authorization is still to be baked, if you will. We've had meetings with the folks from the Navy and with Senator Cortez Masto's office and with Senator Rosen's office. So it's like, hey, it's something that I think is, if you look at it objectively and transparently, there's good stuff in there for a lot of folks. And if you just think that nothing ought to be done in terms of training our warfighters, recognizing our cultural resources, being responsible in terms of just the stewardship of all of our natural resources, then it's like, Sam, there's over 1 million acres in wilderness created in that bill and special areas. Lots of land transfers to the 3 major tribes out there. I think 2 of them are, I'm not going to speak for them, but 2 of them are like, okay, and the Fallon Paiute Shoshones are still very skeptical, which they have every right to be, but it's like, this is pretty strong work in terms of what would probably be the largest lands bill in the history of the state.
Do you think, and please make this a brief answer, that Clark County is making a mistake to blow off the lands bill and not accept what's being offered and then try to get more down the road?
Well, we're here to help anybody. We haven't passed a lands bill since Harry Reid was in the Senate. So, I mean, timing's everything, but you got a zillion moving parts in any lands bill. And so I'm not going to criticize them. It's just like, hey, if it doesn't get done this time, which it doesn't look like it's going to down there. But Sam Sniplem is like 22 years old. We need to update. So it's still something that needs to be done.
Okay, last point here I want to raise, because I spent last week a lot of time in the House recording studio up on Capitol Hill. And there were 2 things that stunned me. One was that there was a vote on whether they should take a vote on something. And it was kind of like, so you're allotting 15 minutes and a whole bunch of speeches to see if you're going to be able to take a vote on something, as against just vote. Do you think that people would go crazy if they saw this is what goes on in Congress?
Well, they're pretty much going crazy already without seeing it all. If they saw it all, Lord knows. But you know, part of that problem, Sam, is when you're in the majority in the House, there's no saying you don't bring a vote to the floor unless you have the votes. Although if you wanted to send a message, I think sometimes it would be a good tool to have it go down and say, there you go. But it just is an indicator of the amount of back and forth and you know, push and pull within each party in terms of you got this agenda, you got that agenda. If you're going to legislate, usually that means you don't get it all the way you want, especially when it's not like you're the final say. And so that doesn't mean I don't feel strongly about the things that are the issues of the day. But at the end of the day, getting nothing done. I'll tell you what getting nothing done. Last time we did immigration was when Ronald Reagan was the president. And it's our job. And we haven't done anything, and look at what's going on at the border now.
1986.
Yeah.
That's where we got to leave it, my friend. Please come back soon. Always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thanks, big guy.
And we'll be right back.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Events Center in Las Vegas. Host meetings and events on 2 floors. Stay in luxurious rooms and suites. Unlimited branding opportunities. Regional Italian cuisine by Chef Mark Segrisi. Flexible event spaces. Full buyout options. Visit ahernhotel.com today.
Hi, I'm Renee Summer, our digital news anchor here at 7 at 7. Watch our streaming nonstop newscast immediately with your mobile phone. 7 at 7 is the new way for you to get every bit of local news you need in just 7 minutes. Breaking news, local neighborhood news, weather, and sports are just a click away. Reporters bring you all of what's happening in the Valley. From Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and more. Get every bit of local news you need from the RJ and LVRJ.com.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
Nevada Newsmakers Goes to Washington is brought to you by the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, your RTC, our community. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. University Medical Center of Southern Nevada. Compassion, accountability, integrity, respect. The Nevada Mining Association, mining a better future for Nevada. And NV Energy. NV Energy proudly serves Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers.
Just want to say a quick thank you to all of our sponsors for Nevada Newsmakers Goes to Washington. Without their help, we would never be able to do it. So thank you to all of you, and please come back next year and sponsor us again. Thanks again for the help.